What up? What up? What up? What up? Happy Friday, everybody. We made it. Everybody can celebrate because the weekend is upon us. But this is another episode of the Grid and Grind Show brought to you by the In Off the Bench Podcast Network. Today, we're talking to Evan Newman, Josh Newell. We are continuing the Palm Beach Breakers takeover on the Grid and Grind Show. We're going to get Evan's story. We've had Josh on the show before, so we kind of know a little bit about where he's coming from and his journey with fitness. But we're going to get Evan's story. We're going to talk about the Alabama Combine. We're going to talk about personal goals, personal expectations. We're going to talk about really like the breakers, because this whole week has been a lot of like people telling me how different it feels and how excited they are. And like, you know, not that last year wasn't good, but like this year is just is something different. So I want to kind of pick their brain as far as what do they mean by it's different. But with that, you know how it goes. I got to keep the lights on in this place. So I got to plug those sponsors so I can pay some bills. The In Off the Bench Podcast Network Grid and Grind Show is brought to you by, you know it, Chinook Seedery, 8 flavors, mild to wild, best sunflower seeds in the game. You guys know that Valentine's Day usually signifies the day of love. Well, it is a day of love because all us baseball fans, we're in love because opening day of college baseball falls on Valentine's Day this year. And what better way than to love yourself than with a nice bag of Smokehouse Barbecue, a nice bag of cinnamon toast. And if you're feeling really sexy, mix them together. Smokehouse Barbecue, cinnamon toast. I call it smoking toast. You'll thank me later. Memphis City Designs. Get your brands, gear, and logos on everything from shoes to under rouge. You can get your In Off the Bench gear while supplies last. We got all the colors for your favorite teams. Like I mentioned, college baseball season is coming up. Go support your team. Rock the In Off the Bench gear in the right colors, and I will be much appreciated. If you want me to sign it, I don't know what it's worth for to have my signature on your clothing, but I'll sign it. Just let me know. Relief Chiropractic, Dr. Vic Robinson. Been singing his praises from the mountaintops. He is the man. He's got the magic hands. He's rejuvenating people. He's adding years to their life. He gives you the free consultation. He gives you the prescriptive, customized plan that's tailored to your needs. Not everybody else's needs, but your needs. So go check him out, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And finally, Old Dominick Distillery. Experience 150 years of tradition in the heart of downtown Memphis. From bourbon to vodka, whiskey to gin, Old Dominick's got you covered. Stop in today for a tour or to pick up your favorite bottle. It's Friday. I can't think of a better way than to celebrate with a nice old-fashioned with some Old Dominick. So trust me. Take my advice, get you a drink, get you some seeds, get you some In Off the Bench gear, and go see Dr. Vic Robinson. With that, bills have been paid. We got to get to it. Help me welcome on to the show with the biggest interview in podcasting this week. Palm Beach Breakers stars, Evan Newman, Josh Newell. Evan, what up, brother?
What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Josh, what's up? Welcome back.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me again.
Oh, of course. I'm glad you're back, to be honest, because we got to talk. I saw, and I wanted to pull it up. I couldn't find it. It's somewhere in the Instaverse. And Evan, you may not know this, but I do a lot of digging on social media. And I didn't have to dig far because this is a very recent post that you put out there, Josh. 400-pound pull-up. What?
Oh, man.
What is going on, bro? Like,
we got to understand, most of that's me. So, just doing a pull-up myself is a pretty good amount. But, man, I've had that 150-pound sandbag for 6 years. And like 4 years ago, I was coaching a class and kind of joking around with our members that I'd do a pull-up with it between my legs or something. So this has been like 6 years in the making that I've been wanting to do a pull-up with that blasted sandbag between my legs. And now I'm dealing with like a little finger sprain right now. So some of the stuff that I would normally train is limited. So I'm in the gym messing around, man, which I do that anyways. Don't get me wrong. If you follow my Instagram, you're destined to see some wild stuff. But like, man, I'm having fun with training. So that was something I was like, you know what? Today's the day. Let's see if I can do it.
So I always wonder these things is like when you see these super feats on social media, you're like, all right, how many times did this have to be practiced before they were confident they could put it on? on film. So was this just a spur of the moment thing, and you're like, "Let me see what this looks like," and shit, you did it, or had you?
Yeah, some things are born out of necessity and laziness too, because it becomes a problem of how do I load 150 pounds on this dip belt? And I'm like, all right, I'm 230. I want 400 pounds, and I got a 20-pound weight vest on. The math just mathed, man. It's like, all right, we got 150 pounds to load, and here's a sandbag with a handle. Why not? Let's see if we can do it. And it was for sure. Once I took it off the bench and let it hang, I was like, "There's no possible way." I was like, "There's no way this is going to happen." But man, he just send it. That's my motto. So
You're like, all right, it's loaded. I gotta go right
there you
now.
go. Yeah,
Because to me, it's like it's a contraption that you've created, and at any moment, it could decide it doesn't want to do what you
yeah.
think it's
And
supposed
I
to do.
spent the effort to drag it across the gym. So it's like one of those deals where I've invested enough energy now that like I better do it, because now I've got, and Shay walked in right when I was going to do it, so she sees me rigging up this nonsense. She's giving me like the most ridiculous looks as usual, and it's just like, well, you better make it, or otherwise she's just going to make fun of you and you're going to miss it. So, because she's going to make
Does
fun of me either way. So
does Shay get impressed by these feats, or does she just think you're ridiculous? Because I mean, I will be honest, like I'm impressed. I am impressed, and I would think like your significant other, like either would be like, okay, Josh, enough's enough, brother. Like I get it, you're
yeah,
strong, or
I'm
it's
not
like,
100% sure that she is as impressed by that as if I was to like do my own laundry. Probably would be more. That's probably because she is also living in the house with me. She'd probably be more thrilled that I made the bed after I got out of it than if I did a 400-pound pull up. So matter of perspective there. But I think she might be impressed, although she's never going to tell me. Like
well,
she doesn't. She's more in the camp of like continue to like not give me praise so that I'll keep doing stuff. I think because she knows in the end it's probably she's the most likely person I would be seeking approval from. So like if
well,
she doesn't give it to me, then maybe I'll keep like
just one upping yourself
yeah,
until you get it. But
yeah.
you tell her, I think she's a maniac for leaving one drop of liquid in orange
Oh,
juice and milk. And I saw that. So that was digging right there. I did see that, and I was like, this is crazy.
she's she does some things, man. I love her to death, but as many things as I probably do that make her annoyed, she's got some too. So we mesh pretty well. So
But that's why you get along, man. That's
yeah,
that's that's your person for a reason.
that's right.
But Evan, let's get to it, man. Obviously, first time on the show. We were talking a little bit about, you and grid, but I kind of want to get your journey into fitness. Everybody has a story, and some people is pretty simple as far as, I was played all kinds of sports, and sports kind of naturally progressed me into the weight room, and I just kind of over time fell in love with working out and training. Was that your story, or did you have a different, encounter with fitness?
Yeah, so that it's pretty similar to that. So I was playing football in high school. I was a big boy. I was about 250, big old boy. I was on the offensive line, and my sophomore year, I kind of made this decision like I'd like to play linebacker. And so I went to my defensive coordinator. He said, "You're gonna have to cut some weight, get faster. We'll try you at linebacker next year. See how it goes." So about that time, my dad, uh, he was starting CrossFit with a friend of his at the local gym where I grew up, and he wanted me to come with him. So I started just riding to the gym with him every day, working out, and that kind of it started as just like a weight loss journey. But after high school, I really got into competing, fell in love with the sport, and I loved football. I loved competing. So it kind of, for me, like competitive CrossFit, it kind of filled that void that I was missing from high school football. It gave me something to train for, it gave me a purpose. And that's all she wrote from there. That's why I love grid so much, man. It's a team sport. And I love team sports.
Yeah,
So,
we all have that moment of clarity when you walk into a CrossFit gym and you had been an athlete and you go, "Oh, I remember what that feels like.
Oh
I
yeah.
I know that competitive feeling." Like, you know, I think I've had Chelsea Ranieri on from the Sharks, and she explained it the best. She was like, I had an itch that needed to be scratched, and I couldn't find anything to scratch it until I found CrossFit, and like it immediately was what got it. And I was like, man, that actually like very, very poignant, like right on point with how I feel. But obviously you see a need and you're wanting to do something different with football and change a position. You wanted to drop some weight. You know, you're doing all these things, you know, one, to better yourself, but two, like, you know, fitness and working out like really has this crazy thing that it just mentally makes you feel good. So, you know, I've never asked anybody this question, but like when you're let's you know you're a big guy, you're an offensive lineman, when you drop the weight, like mentally and like confidence wise, do you have a different feeling? Do you like your head's up a little higher, your shoulders are back a little bit? Like, is there a different feeling and how you carry yourself?
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, I was that if you're when you're in high school and you're a big guy, you're gonna get bullied, it's just part of it. So started dropping weight, people started noticing, making comments on it, and it just gives you like a whole different perspective. You gain a lot of confidence in yourself and your abilities and how you carry yourself. I was more outgoing, was able to make a lot more friends, a lot easier, and just overall, just it really changed my life, man, for the better. It was an amazing journey.
Absolutely. And like when you think about reasons why you are in positions that you're in, you think back on like these little things that happen. And maybe one of the reasons why you found grid was because you were able to have the confidence now to actually dive and take a leap and do something different, which is, you know, really half the battle. You know, I talk to people all the time. You know, I'm 40, and you know, midlife is a real thing, and like it's hard when you have people who you talk to that go, you know, I just regret I never took the leap to do anything that was scary or different or out of my comfort. I always did like what I, you know, had a good idea of how it was going to go. I never took, you know, a leap of faith of, man, this might fail. So like I tip my hat to anybody that tries new things, and especially somebody who's trying to better themselves and put them in a position. So, dude, shout out to you for that. But you know, when it comes to grid, what have you? When did you find grid? Because grid has been around for a hot minute, and it's evolved in a number of different capacities. But at what point? I mean, obviously you were a rookie, you know, and we'll get into that a little bit in a few minutes. But was it just in that last season when you found it, or was it something that you followed and knew about, and you just were like, like it's cool, but like that's not something I can do right now?
Yeah, so the only thing I knew about grid at all was just seeing the highlights on Instagram. That you'll see the highlights, they'll pop up from time to time. You see these people doing the crazy stuff on the rings and just doing these ridiculous um, movements that you've never seen before, and you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. But I had never watched a match, didn't know anything about the sport at all, um, other than just the little bit I had seen on Instagram. And Josh called me up, and he was like, "Hey, man, we need a guy. Do you want to do this?" And I said, "I mean, let's go. I guess I don't know anything about it, but let's do it."
So all right, let's backtrack a second. So
Yeah, there's a
Josh,
bomb.
how do you know Evan? Is this
Um,
from the
so
gym? From Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'll give you like a quick rundown of that. Me and Evan competed first at a individual CrossFit competition. What, probably like 4 years ago, Evan? Maybe in Florence.
Um,
We did
so
the
yeah,
Flowtown Throwdown in Florence. He was super young, which I don't know if we'll drop a little bombshell here. Evan's still only 21. But so he may have still been in high school at the time for all I
I
know.
was, yeah. I was a junior.
Yeah, I was about to say he royally kicked my ass at that comp, destroyed me in a barbell workout. So then he was pretty raw on his like weightlifting. So he knew a friend of ours that was training with us for weightlifting when I was coaching at the time. We dabbled a little bit with some like going to weightlifting comps. And he thought maybe he would do a little bit of that. And then he just really dove back into CrossFit hardcore, if I'm getting that right. And he definitely should have. And then I've been piggybacking on him and riding his coattails doing CrossFit comps for a little while. So like when he wants to do one, I'm like, yeah, I'll go help you. Like, I'll jump in on that and ride your coattail to victory. So he's been an inspiration for me to keep training hard. Honestly, he may not know that. Maybe the first time I've said that, but having fit friends like that and having somebody who is trying to be super competitive kept me a little bit more motivated to become that way. I think Shay, Billy, and Dodd hit on the fact that they all did a 4-person comp in Birmingham together. And then after that point, I think me and Evan have done about 4 or 5 comps, mostly really good. One funny story we might get to in a little bit, but mostly really, really good. But that funny story is actually what led me to really dive into grid. So, but he's been an inspiration for me in CrossFit, and I started sharing some of the stuff that we were going to be doing grid. And every time I would share something, he'd be like, dude, I didn't realize that you did that in grid. Or like, that looks cool. Like, this is a little bit more intricate than I thought. Like he was talking about some of the stuff you'd see on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, man, this is going to be really cool, I think. And so that first match, when I got the opportunity, when we needed somebody and we needed them to be available and somebody had access to right away, I was like, I got a guy. He's really, really good. If y'all be interested, talking to Matt and some of the guys. So,
that's crazy. That is just crazy. Because if I went through my phone, there's not a single person I could call and be like, "Hey, man, can you come and be a part of the grid team tomorrow?" They'd be like, "Get out of here!"
Yeah, you want to go to Florida in 2 weeks and compete at like the highest intensity you ever have? Like,
you'll be fine. Trust me. And guess what, Evan? I'm gonna ride your coattails there too. So
yeah, I am, dude. No joke. I mean, I always say like him and Shay. I know I made some contributions to the team, obviously on the grid, and I'm a humble guy, so that may be understating it, but I firmly believe what I brought to the team in other bodies that could contribute, like Shay and Evan, was far more valuable than what I could do on the grid. So super happy that he jumped in and did it, man. We'd have been lost without him for a lot of last year. So
I mean, I think if you guys win it all, I think you need to really negotiate your percentage of cash prize, of that pool, because I mean, these players, I mean, like, it's your agent fee, bro.
They're like a finder's fee, man. Yeah.
Right. Oh, so Evan, he calls you up and he's like, "Look, man, I got just the thing for you. You're gonna love it." And like, does he sell you hard, or is he like, "Hey, look, we're kind of in a bind. Like, can you help me out?" Or did he like make you an offer you couldn't refuse?
It was kind of just like, hey man, I know it's super last minute, and if you can't make it down here, that's totally fine, but we could really use you. So I remember I'm reading this message and I'm sitting by my wife at dinner and I look at her and I'm like, hey, you want to go to Orlando in 2 weeks? And she was like, what? And I said, we got to go to Orlando. So
he said, we gotta go. He said, we gotta.
Like,
look at it.
We're going. We're on vacation, and guess what? We're gonna go on another vacation. Yeah. And you're gonna love it. It's just people working. It's gonna be great. So you get there, and like, what is your immediate reaction? Were you like, oh shit, like this is what's up, or were you like, what did I get myself into here?
I was terrified, man. Absolutely terrified. We got to practice one time for a couple hours before we went to Orlando, and they basically just kind of did a little rundown with me. But like I was on mirror in that first match. It was the back squat mirror, and I remember Josh teaching me how to do the transition in the warm up area in the back before we went out on the grid to do mirror. So it was crazy, man. I was on partner forward too. I started the match. I was terrified, like so scared, but it ended up being really fun. And
You got thrown into the very first race of the
Yeah.
match.
oh yeah, I was on the last two quads of partner forward, dude. I was so
Dude.
scared.
Dude, there's video of him running in for that, and I would love to know what his heart rate was when he got to the jump rope down there.
Oh, it
Like,
was zone
you were
5.
running so fast, dude. You were hauling. And I know your heart rate was up.
Oh yeah, it
So,
was.
It's
It was
like
up. It was up before I started running.
yeah.
it's when you go out of the gates hot on like a 20-minute AMRAP and you're dead 6 minutes into the workout and you're like, shit, I got 14 more minutes of this. Give me a break. I mean, so you get thrown into the fire quick. Like you don't even get a chance really. Maybe that's a good thing. And maybe that was by design. They're not giving you a chance to even think about how awful it could be. You're just like, here you go. Have fun, race
you just gotta
one,
do
partner
it.
forward. And to be honest, like there's a lot of communication that goes along with like that race. And it may not necessarily have to be verbal, but like there's a coordination of like communication. Like your partner is going simultaneously, but they can't go until you're in the designated location and vice versa. And like when you're practicing with the person that you're going to do that with on a regular, like it's easy to have that, but you're a guy who just straight, from Alabama to Orlando, just came back from vacation, and you're like, well, I'm going to jump into this partner forward. Hi, my name's Evan. What's your name? Oh, okay. Well, I'll do my best,
Mm-hmm.
But once you finish that first match, what's the feeling? Are you like, how do I do this again? Do they want me to do this again? Or is this like, this was good. This is a one-time thing. I'm glad I helped out, but I'm good kind of going back doing my own thing.
No, I'm thinking immediately. I love this. I have to come back and do this again. How can I do this? Because I was a wild card, so I wasn't technically on the team for that first match, but ended up being able to sign me, and I got to finish out the season, and I was so happy, man, because it was so fun. I was gonna do the trials this year if I didn't get to come back, so I loved it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
he was a 1-day sign, and just so I don't know how much he knows about this, but like before he got to dinner after the match, like we're all sitting at the table, like, okay, how can we petition the league to allow us to sign him for the rest of the year? Because that's how the rules work. You have to have a certain number of rosters, and we just had people that had flat out abandoned the team, for whatever reason. Maybe they had life stuff go on, and we were like, well, we have a nobody, or we can sign what arguably was our one of our best players for this match. Like, we got to figure out a way to get the league to sign on to this, and thankfully they're very gracious, and they did, and allowed Evan to be here for the whole year.
So Evan, when you look back at last season, rookie season, were there, once you completed that and you knew you had a spot on the team, were there any expectations or goals that you set for yourself, or you just wanted to contribute and do the best that you could do?
Yeah, I just wanted to whatever they needed me to do, I wanted to be able to run out there and execute and just give it everything I had and just have fun with it, man. Learn the sport and do whatever was needed of me. And I think I did that pretty well. I was asked to do a lot of different stuff, and I would just roll with it, man. Roll with the punches, go out there and give it everything I got.
All right, Josh. Let's put yourself in the professor's shoes.
Right.
Evan, A, B, C, D, or F for let's start with this for match one, his first match.
Oh, it's A's across the board, man, for sure. Yeah, what we asked of him in the first match was completely unfair, to be honest. To just be like, yeah, come in and do like some of the most integral parts. of this match. So 100% across the board, man.
You make it sound like if he was like, it would have been fair for him to be like, you know what, you guys can go screw yourself. Like,
yeah, you can.
Doing that, like,
But I mean,
didn't tell me. You didn't.
I sent
tell
him
me
the
about it.
assignments. I sent him the assignments, and he was like, "Well, this looks like a good time." And I'm like, "Nobody would say that." Like,
Oh, just wait.
it's like here's 10 thrusters at 185, right into 10 back squats at 315. Like, no one should say that's going to be a good time.
That
But
is pretty
like,
awful. I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie. That mirror is terrible.
That's not a
So,
fun one.
and we're going to do it again this year, so it's going to be
I
even
did
more
it.
fun. But
I did that one yesterday, and it still hurts just as bad as it did last year. It didn't change.
no,
So.
he the first match definitely an A, and then second match was where he really shined, in my opinion, because. Mainly because of the roster we had and my limitations. I don't know that it matters because you can't play defense in this sport, but I'm a terrible overhead squatter. I could put that secret out there. You'll never see me on a match with those. And that match had a lot of overhead squatting focus in the partner forward, in the sprint. It was the strength closer. We had maybe one other person that could handle the load on some of that stuff, but he had like some consistent back injuries. So like we would have been dead to rights there. I mean, we could have faced points where we were just staring at the bar, you know. So or maybe we
Not
sent Vita
only-
out there to do it. Vita could probably snatch the 225. So
Not only did you guys just throw him to the fire, but you said you're going to do overhead squats too.
yeah,
Enjoy.
I was excited about the overhead squats, man. I love overhead squats. That's no problem.
He couldn't get like a D ball or a yoke carry, something that like
No.
requires no thought, just like
no, I get the
pure,
easy
like,
stuff. No, yeah,
Yeah.
I get that's
That's-
his role. I get the caveman, easy gorilla grunt move stuff. He gets the hard stuff to take technical skill. That's how every
I mean,
comp we've ever done is that we have an agreement there. Like, so,
honestly, Evan, being the new guy and the youngest, I think that's probably going to be your role for a little bit. Like, hey, man, I don't want to do this. Just give it to Evan. Here you go.
I'll do it, man. Give me whatever.
I know.
I'll make it happen.
I know that's right. You got to solidify your spot. I mean, with the evolution of the league and how it's growing, like there's going to be lots of eyes and lots of opportunities for new people. So like the competition level on the teams and to have the depth that you need to be a championship team, like you're going to have more and more, and you're going to have to constantly be a team guy, but also be able to do different things. And the more you can do, the more balanced you are and the more that you can add depth to a roster. So it only helps you to be able to do a lot of things. But Josh, I want to get into it. Obviously in your backyard, you guys a few weeks ago hold the Alabama Combine, and at the, when we talked a while ago now,
yeah,
we talked about the opportunity to do this Alabama Combine and what it meant for not just the breakers, but like strategy and an off-season thing that other teams might be replicating. Because I told you, I was like, that's a phenomenal idea to have a footprint in other regions outside of Florida, because you're only going to be able to get new talent that hasn't been exposed to grid, and you'll be the first persons to approach them about it. And much like Evan, you find the right person, they're all in. So let me ask you, obviously you were a player and you were a part of doing the workouts at the Combine, but also you do have a chance to sit back and look at the new people coming in. And I told Matt yesterday that from everyone that I've talked to, you guys did a really masterful job of getting some gems in this Combine. And I told them yesterday, I don't know how many people were there. They ended up telling me how many people were there.
Yeah.
But I was like, it really doesn't matter so much the quantity, because you could have 150 people there. If only two of them are able to do anything, like that's great that you had that turnout, but really you need people, and two doesn't really move the needle. It helps, but you want to be able to get the bang for your buck. So if you have 25 people and 10 of the 25 are legit, like that's that's even better. So I'll ask you from your perspective, how successful in your eyes did the Alabama Combine turn out to be?
Well, consider my expectations like right before it. I think it blew
I
everything
heard about
away.
that too. I heard about that too.
Yeah, I was nervous. We had hyped this thing up, and I really, in the beginning, sometimes you have concepts and you have an idea, and you're like, man, this would be a great idea. And on paper, it really is one. And then, you're trying to organize something where everybody else has to make their schedule work for a thing that you chose. And so that can be really, really tough there may be people that, and there may still have been people that were like super excited and wanted to do it and didn't get the opportunity. And to that, I'll say we'll probably do it again. So you won't miss out forever. And other teams are already replicating it. It's just, if we really want to be, and I'm going to try to be an ambassador for the league in general. I want the Breakers to be great, but I want the league to be great. So like placing down these little small camps of areas where we can like advance the sport, even from a visibility standpoint, is important to me. So like it was great for us to get the talent, and not just that. Like, we had a couple of people show up that we had researched out and personally invited, right? And those people, we knew we would like to give them a spot. But we didn't have to tell them that. It's like, hey, if you come show out, we can get a kind of a look at what you can do live, which is, I've always said this, that's way more valuable than what you can do in a video tester, that you get to stop the camera if you don't like the way it looked. You get to, oh, I tripped on my second triple under. Let me just erase that video.
I mean,
I did these back squats, but it took 20 seconds. Let me erase that one and see if I can get it in 16. When you're going live like that, which is the way it'll be on game day, we really get an idea of how you move, how you deal with adversity if things pop up a little different than what you did. And so that was valuable to watch the rookies. I came away nothing but impressed with everyone that was there, every single person, and so happy with the veterans that came and sacrificed their time to be there. Many of them from Florida, driving 14 hours. When you get JoJo and Alyssa, you should ask them about their story about coming up, because it's a very interesting story. But they still, like, their commitment level coming up to that combine, especially given what happened in the story there, showed, I think, our rookies that are potentially looking, they don't have to sign with us, right? So like, we're doing this comp. This is not a like, you do this and you must sign with us if you come to our combine. So they could do this combine and say, hey, I like grid, but I want to go play for this team. So like, I think it showed them that this team is so committed. Look at their veterans. They're here on a Saturday in an ice storm to like watch us compete, to help us compete. And so it was so impactful for that reason. So for the rookies, for the veterans, could not have asked for a better start to our season as a team, if you ask me. I couldn't have scripted it any better. So,
yeah, you have a chance to honestly like get these new people in, see what they got, but also like put them in situations where they're with people that they're potentially going to be paired up with when the season comes. And like the earlier you can do that, like that's probably one of the most beneficial things you can do, especially when once the season rolls around and it comes time to practice, like you're going to be limited to the amount of face-to-face interactive practices that you can have. And so that remote piece then becomes like a secondary thing. So like if you can get one or two, face-to-face practices in, like that's huge. But it seems like, for everything that I've heard and seen, Alabama was a success. And I think, what I do know is other teams are going to replicate that and have started to make the moves to replicate that, which only makes sense. I mean, if you want this to be a united grid league and you want teams from, all over the country, you definitely need to branch out. You definitely need to have these footholds in certain locations. And not every, it's like I equate it to like college recruiting. Like you have to have footholds in areas And that's got to be your spot. That way people know about you. And when you come do your combine, like you're the team that they want to be with. Because, you know, I talked to Haley Booker. Haley Booker is a new addition to y'all's team, but, you know, she was very transparent with saying, you know, I was contacted by multiple teams. I chose the Breakers because it was the right fit for me. But, you know, kind of piggybacking off of what you said, Josh, is that you had people come in and like there was no guarantee that, you know, they could have been the greatest player and you could have offered them and put a, you know, letter of intent in front of their face, but they could have been like, I'm going to go somewhere else, and like couldn't be mad about it. That's someone
No.
that's doing what they think is best for them. But, you know, Evan, I'll ask you, you know, being a first year last year, learning a lot of things, and now given what you know about this season so far, you've had the combine, you're filling a roster, you've got new people, you've got, you know, signees from, you know, other teams, and you know, you have some veterans, you have guys like Josh that's going into another year. He's young in his grid career. And you know, what does it feel like as far as like how it felt last year and how it feels now? Like, because I've been hearing a lot about this, it just feels different. It looks different. Yes, of course it looks different. There's new people, new faces, but I keep hearing everybody say like it feels different. So in your opinion, what does that mean that it feels different?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. You said it. It does. It just feels different, man. Like you could just tell after the combine, everybody went to dinner, you know, and you can just tell the energy is just different. Everybody gets along so well. We all mesh together really well. We were laughing, cutting up, having a great time. And I think that's important. Everybody's just able to get along. We're all friends, and we just all mesh super well together. Um, and that's the making of a good team. You know, I'm so excited about this season. Everybody on the team is they're committed. They want to get better. We're already submitting videos. Everybody's testing stuff. I mean, it seems like everybody's so excited to get started, and I feel like we're ahead of the curve, and I couldn't be more excited about how this season. Everybody I talk to, I'm like, the Breakers are going to be something this season. We're going to be good. So
I
I'm super excited.
I when I was talking to Matt Hornaday yesterday, one of the things that like really resonated with me is, you know, he said as much as it feels different, we had to do different. And he said, you know, at the end of last year, he had to ask tough questions and really get tough feedback on himself because he felt as though like he could do more. So he wanted to know from the players what he could do differently. And you know, he said it yesterday, like what I wanted this to be is a professional organization that feels like a professional organization. I want, you know, a good culture, a good chemistry. I want the right people. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to allow our players to be as successful as possible. Josh, I'll ask you, you know, hearing, you know, your owner and coach say something like that feels different. That is different. But what else, you know, when people are saying this feels different, what, you know, when you look back at last year to now, what is different?
Well, early in the process, I wasn't part of the team last year at all. You know, I signed on after the grid trials. I might have had a month and a half to get with the team and mesh with them. But that team had a lot of pieces that fell off before the season. So there was obviously less commitment than this team has already from the jump. So, you know, we were piecing together the puzzle pieces during the season. Whereas right now, we've got a pretty good picture of where we are, like planning the season out in January. You know, and
Right.
season starts in May. But I think even if the season started in July or August like it did last year, we would already be here that far ahead with enough time to plan and develop. So I'm pretty excited about that, about all the pieces we've added, you know, talent wise, just from the lack of from our depth falling apart last year, we really struggled talent wise. And, you know, you can work hard And if you don't have the talent, you can still get beat. This year, we will not have any excuses from a talent perspective. And I'm going to be very clear about that for expectations from our team. We have the talent. We won't have that excuse. And I don't expect it to be made one. Like, we have the talent. We have to work. We have to execute. We have to be a cohesive unit and have good chemistry, because nobody's going to walk away saying, well, the Breakers they just weren't quite good enough to compete. No, we're definitely good enough to compete. So we need to, right? And I think that's what everybody feels. They feel this feeling of like, man, we're good. We're going to be good. Now we have to go do it, because on paper it doesn't mean anything. But like, everybody can feel this palpable energy that like, this is a good team. We believe in that. We believe in each other. I don't think, the team last year, we were like, I can remember we had a great match against the Sharks, but I remember the vibes going into that match like, here we go. Like, the Sharks are a juggernaut, obviously, on paper, and we're not a juggernaut on paper. Like, we're looking at these matches like, how can we game this to get a race here and a race here? How can we use our bonus flag? Certain moments in that match where we had great individual moments, like Reese had in that match, helped us to do that. But like, this year, we're not looking for like a just like a grand slam in one inning to steal us the game. You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at like lots of depth, lots of talent. Everybody can tell that's happening. So we got to go execute. So, but I think everybody's excited about having that opportunity. Like, we have a real shot to win, and we know it. So that's what's got me excited. So.
It's telling when a guy like you stands up in front of the team and you're able to communicate that to new members of the team. That resonates with them. It matters to them because everyone wants to win. Like, it from top to bottom on any team, like, everyone wants to win. It comes down to really like, how do we mesh? What is the culture? Because I'll be honest, like, I've coached college baseball, and every team that I was a part of, like, the team that won the most was never the most talented team. They had talent, don't get me wrong, because they were there.
Yeah.
But they were never the most talented. It was always the ones that got along and meshed the best, because they started going, okay, this is a little bit bigger than me, and I'm not here to win for me. I'm here to win for us. And so when you have that let's win, as silly as it sounds, it's very coach speak, but like, it's the truth. When you have the win for us mentality and everyone permeates that, people start holding each other to a different level of accountability. And when you are holding each other to the accountability of, hey, we do things a certain way because that's how we operate on the Breakers, that's a difference maker. And I think, that's the one thing that I hear everyone saying about it being different, is like, the level of accountability now is ratcheted up. It's no longer like we're not talented. Like, we have the talent. It's like, we got to set expectations and standards for a team moving forward. And we got to do it for the team. But before you guys get out of here today, Evan, I'll start with you. Going into this season, obviously the expectation is to, as a team, is to compete for a championship. But personally, like, what is your goal for yourself? If the Breakers are going to compete for a championship, what does Evan have to do between now and the time that the season starts?
Yeah, so I've just got to keep working hard. I mean, run these testers, get my videos in, and if I need to be put in the race on something, I need to go out on the race and execute my assignment to the best of my ability. Just try to have the fastest time, and if I do have the fastest time on a certain piece of the race, then go out and execute that piece and just do my part. Be a team player. That's, at the end of the day, it's going to be everybody coming together and individually doing their parts and executing their assignments well. And if we do that, we're going to be all right.
Yeah, definitely. One of my big mantras is that when it comes to teams, you don't harp on the big things. You never want big things to be a problem, but I was under the belief that you want to harp on little things. Make sure all the little things are in order, because all big things are is a combination of these little things, and big things end up being big things because you don't take care of all these small things, and they combine and they create these larger problems. So you know, I hear you when you're talking about, you know, the season and what you got to do. You're right. Everyone has to focus on their role and what they need to do to make sure like the team can be successful, because if they're worried about other things, like that's when they're going to slip themselves, and it's going to be that much of a bigger issue. Josh, obviously great season last year, all-star. Coming into this season, you know, you're super high. The expectations are high. I mean, if I ask you what the team expectation, I know it's to compete for a championship. I don't even have to ask you that, but you know, sort of along the same lines as Evan, like in order for the Breakers to contend for a championship, what does Josh Newell have to do?
Man, if you've been watching my Instagram, I'm going for body weight specialist of the year. So getting stretched out for that. No, man. Put that one on the breaking news, but
I mean,
no, man.
I've seen it. You've been doing a lot of pull-ups.
No, the goal for us to be great is that I don't do any of that stuff. No, this team has so much potential. Joking about me being an all-star last year, the guy Evan over there, one of the biggest all-star subs that I know of. If anybody would have known his name, he had a name on the back of his jersey, he probably would have got that last year. He played the whole year with an empty name jersey. But in all reality, I want this team to be so great, and I want to put people in positions to have their moments to shine, to the point that it is evident that I don't know who the rookie of the year is, but they're on the Breakers. I don't know who the MVP of the league is, but they're on the Breakers. I don't know how many all-stars we can elect from the Breakers, but man, whoever is not elected, it's a snub. Like I want our team to be so great and everybody to have the moments that they're having on the grid, and do it with a lot of fun, to the point where it's like, I guess we're just going to have to give all the league awards to the Breakers and just call it even. Like, I want that to happen as a function of us being in positions to succeed that well. If that happens, I'll be thrilled. If that happens, we're obviously going to take home the championship. It's like you said, it's a confluence of the pieces that you have to check off those boxes to have those goals come into place. For me, man, I'm excited to just be a utility player, like old school, like I used to be in baseball, which, a funny story, I couldn't hit. I was terrible, but I could field every position. So, you know, that's going to be my role, is like, hey, I'm not coming in for home runs anymore. I'm bonus because of how talented we are. And I can come in and clean up these little pieces where we need it. So I'm excited about that. And that way I get to watch people be great. So I'm excited about that. Like,
if you joke, but I feel like there's gonna be like this, something's gonna happen in the world where Josh is gonna find himself doing some type of body weight movement
no,
this
look,
season in the grid.
look,
Yeah.
I told him if I get a backflip down, I've told him, I'm just saying, we're gonna have to make room for it somewhere if I get a backflip down. Although Shay is 100% against me even trying.
I mean,
It's gonna happen. It's gotta happen.
You tell Haley Booker that she's gonna have to do all of them except for one.
Leave me one, baby. Leave me one.
Have to run down there, but that means that she's going to have to just dominate her portion of it. That way, gives you enough time to get there.
Yes.
Heaven forbid you miss.
Now, listen, there was a girl on the Venom last year. We were joking about this stuff, but there are some freaks in our league that can do some amazing stuff. So there was a girl on the Venom last year that did backflips and was one of their main strength specialists. Like there's some super talented people in our league that, you know, me joking about it, they really can do this stuff. And like, we have all the body weight specialists we need. Like, it is not inherent on me to do any of this stuff, but to bring some levity to like the pressure we're putting on ourselves, you know, that's like my fun little goal, is to like keep working on some of that stuff because of the freedom I have to not just have to be like hammering myself into the ground on some of this strength stuff right now. So
Right. Hey, I think you guys got the pieces, man. I'll be honest. Like you've done the work. Like you've created a blueprint of how you wanted the season to go, as far as from back office stuff to the actual construction of the team to obviously the schedule. I'm hoping is going to be finalized here soon. But all of those things seem to be in place. Now it's a matter of let's perfect this practice and let's perfect how we move throughout these matches, and races and elements. And then, it's really show up and show out, because it then falls on you guys to perform and do it. But with that, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all on a Friday, on a fun Friday, taking some time out to talk with me. Evan, I know you got classes coming up. Josh, I'm sure you got to get to the gym. But I'll give you guys, Evan, I'll start with you. Anything you want to plug or promote before you guys bounce?
No, I think that's all I got, man.
All right,
I'm good.
Josh.
See if Josh has anything.
man, I can always talk. Man, shout out to our gym for sponsoring us and sponsoring the combine. To Blue Dolphin Pools, it's Evan's family's business, help sponsor that. So big shout out to that.
Yes.
And then just super pumped right now. I do want to make a little quick mention. The grid training program is what I've been doing for the last 6 months, instead of CrossFit programming. So like for athletes that want to train specifically for grid, they should look into the league's options on that. I'm going to be making a testimonial video about that, so won't spend too much time here, but definitely look into that if it's something you're interested in. So, but man, thanks for having us, dude.
Yeah, Josh, let me ask you a quick question about that programming. Is if someone is uncertain whether they want to do grid, that's a good option for them to learn the movements and kind
Oh,
of get a taste of what, not necessarily what it's like in a race, but what it's like to do the movements at speed and like with that.
1,000%, yes, yeah, 100%. Like you're looking at like all of my programming has like tiered options for like, hey, like this is the skill we're looking for, and then if you don't have that skill, slide below and let's do this one for this week. And then the very next week it goes back to, did you get that skill? And then like, all right, well, if you didn't get it yet, let's go to this option again. And then it keeps giving you that opportunity to learn and develop. It's how I've already gotten freestanding handstand push-ups and stuff like that through this off season, where I couldn't do those, couldn't even attempt to do them last year, So like there are things like that in there that's super valuable for skill acquisition, and then just getting used to the intensity level of certain races. The way that Taylor Stallings, who's working on this, has structured it, really allows you to kind of dive into what the intensity level feels like for some of these races. So especially if you're a utility player, the broad program is great, and then they have like very specific stuff for like strength and body weight too. So
And so this is on the Grid League website.
yeah, you should be able to go to the Grid League website and go into like the grid training, like how to train like a grid athlete. I know the exact link. I signed up through an email program that they sent out because they just got it to me right at the moment when I was looking to kind of transition out of full-time CrossFit training. So it was perfect timing for me. So I'd have to find the exact link, and we could kind of push that out
Here it
there.
is. I'm gonna
You
put
found it.
out
Look at
there.
you. Yeah.
So unitedgridleague.com. If you scroll down to the bottom, right here where that little flame is,
Yeah.
grid training program. We'll give it a little click. We'll see. And then you get once it loads up. Oh, can I help with anything? Yeah, you can load this page faster.
Yeah.
But anyhow, you have the option right there. It talks to you
Yep.
about playing, about grid, the training piece, and any jobs that might be available. But obviously, guys, really, Josh, what I hear you saying is that I got options.
Yeah.
I could be in grid.
You can, man. You really can. And I don't mean that jokingly. Like, you really could. Like, you could train your way into this just like you could any other sport. You could train your way into this. Like,
if they have a master's level grid league, could you, like, I thought about this. Could you imagine if one of the team requirements was you had to have at least one master's level athlete?
oh man.
Like, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, we'd be pretty good, I think, between me and Dodd. We'd be close.
No, you guys would be good.
Yeah. At least if they don't check birth certificates, I'm pretty sure I could tell them I'm 40 anyways. Like, they're not going to know. But, like...
Evan, sorry, man. You'll be a master and still won't look like you're a master, bro.
Yeah, Evan.
Enjoy it while you can. But guys, I appreciate y'all hopping on and joining me today. You know, as always, you guys are a lot of fun, a lot of good times, a lot of good stories, and I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to the Breakers, man. It's refreshing, rejuvenating to hear, Matt and Matt talk about the team, but it's also even better to hear about, Evan and Josh and just new players like Andrew and Billy and Haley and Nate come on and really talk about like their experience and why they decided to go with the Breakers. Cause it feels different. It's going to look different, and who knows? I think it's going to be different. So I appreciate you guys. I wish you the best. Have a great weekend. And you know me, I'll be in touch with y'all. I'll be liking and commenting on stuff on social media, especially Josh. You do a 410-pound pull-up, I'm going to be like, dude, come on.
Coming, man.
So, but
and Evan will overhead
y'all.
squat that. So
I appreciate y'all.
I don't know about that, man.
Get it. No, I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a good weekend.
You too, man.
You too, man.
Appreciate it.
Nice talking to you.
That's Evan Newman and Josh Newell of the Palm Beach Breakers. If you like hearing their story, or you just like hearing Average Joe's talk X's and O's, please share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on X, listen and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. Here's what I need you to do. This is important. Go to YouTube. Click subscribe, click notifications. That way you're the first to find out when new content is uploaded. And people ask me all the time, well, what all's there? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is go and find out for yourself. But secondly, I'll tell you this. All right. Producer Jim has been hot in the lab working on things. He's created different playlists for your perusal. We've got gymnastics playlists. We've got a baseball playlist. We've got a professional college baseball. We got grid league. We've got it all. So make sure you go check us out. And as always, if you have any questions, we'll answer them all. Feedback is always, key to our success. So keep giving it to us. Keep giving us the love. Keep giving us the hearts, hugs, loves, thumbs up, all those good things. And we'll see everybody next week on the Grid and Grind Show. On the 3rd, I'm bringing back Sophia Davenport. She's going to be bringing some friends, all right? The Houston Bandits, the newest team of the 2025 Grid League. I talked to her when she took over the team, and now she has a team, and we got to talk about who's on the roster, what it looks like, what the challenges have been, but, what she's looking forward, the expectations and goals for this upcoming season. So I'm looking forward to that on the 3rd. And then on the 6th, more Palm Beach Breakers. We got Shay Newell, the other half of the Newell connection. Shay's going to join us, and she's bringing Dylan Fullwood, which, if you don't know anything about Dylan's got an interesting story that you guys should check out. Journey throughout grid, multiple different teams. So we're going to get his perspective on how he feels about being a Breaker this year. But with that, we'll see everybody next week. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. Peace.